Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to be doing a video showing you personalising with vinyl on latex balloons, but instead of using high flow I'm just going to use straight helium and a latex balloon. Nothing fancy today. I'm going to show you how that differs from the previous video that I did showing you this same thing but with high floated balloons, and I'll link that video up above for you now in case you haven't seen it. You might want to watch that one first and then you'll see the massive difference that it makes by using high flow in your latex balloons if you're going to use vinyl on them. So let's jump straight in, let's get that balloon inflated and see how it goes. So for this video today I'm going to be using a regular helium cylinder and I've got a tilt valve. For those of you that aren't familiar, I'm going to show you how to put your tilt valve on to your helium cylinder, and it's really simple. This one is just a screw in valve, so all you need to do is just pop your regulator into your screw. So just turn it until it stops twisting, and don't turn it too hard, it just needs to be hand tight. Okay, and that's nicely attached onto there. So now what we're going to do is put our balloon onto the end and inflate. So first thing to do is open the cylinder, so just turn it to the left and that is the gas going to come out of there nicely. So this is called a tilt valve because you literally tilt it to get the gas to come out. So I've got some pearl orange Qualatex 11-inch balloons today that I'm going to inflate one of. So I've got my trusty 11-inch sizer and I'm just going to pop my balloon onto the end of there. So the neck I would say I put on to about 1 inch. So then we just press down, and the more you press down on the valve, the quicker that the gas is going to come out of your valve. So you just want to inflate this to 11. Okay, so that's 11. It looks really big. Okay, and then I'm just going to grab my ribbon. So there is no high float in this balloon, it is just a very standard latex balloon. Just going to close the valve on that. When you're using a cylinder like this with a tilt valve, there will still be a bit of gas in this section. So when you want to remove your regulator, you need to release the pressure. So turn your gas tank off completely and then just press the tilt valve down, and that's now released the pressure and you'll be able to unscrew your regulator. I would recommend taking your regulator off when you're not using your gas cylinder, and definitely make sure you've got it all turned off and there's no gas going to come out or escape. And also if you're moving your cylinder around, you don't want to damage your regulator because they're not very cheap to buy. So here is our orange balloon, and now we're going to do the personalising on it. I've cut out on the Cricut exactly the same design as I used previously for the experiment that was using high float. So we're going to see now what happens with this balloon with no high float. So it's now about 12:15 in the afternoon, so it'd be interesting to see how long this one lasts without any high float. Alright then, so here are my two pieces of vinyl. So it's exactly the same. This actually is slightly bigger. And then I've got my test as well in the thicker font. I've got a piece of my normal transfer tape. This is the DeTape contour paper. It's very low tack, and I've got a video dedicated just to this on my channel, which I'll link above now for you if you haven't seen that. But this is the best sort of transfer paper to use if you are personalising balloons because it's very low tack. So all I'm going to do now is transfer these decals onto the balloon. So I'm just going to pop my transfer paper down on there, give it a press down. I'm just going to use my Cricut brayer to press it down as well, and then go over it as well with my scraper. I will do the same on the other side, just to make sure it's really well adhered to my transfer paper. Okay, and then I'll just lift up one of the corners and peel it back at a 90-degree angle. Okay, so that's nicely on there. So can you see that on there? Alright, so now I'm going to get my balloon and adhere it. So exactly the same as I normally do. Got my balloon resting against the desk, and I'm just going to pop this down. It's really important to try and only adhere your actual vinyl, so don't press down on any more of the transfer paper than you actually really need to. Okay, and start from the middle, work your way out and just go over each of the letters. Okay, you might get a few wrinkles in your transfer paper, and that is absolutely fine. Okay, that's on there. So then once you've got that on and you're happy that you've pressed it down, don't leave it for too long because it will really stick. And a latex balloon is quite fragile when it's first being inflated. You'll definitely feel a difference in the texture. If it's going to pop, now is when it's going to happen. So just prepare yourself. Just peel it back slowly and gently. If you get any lifting, you can just press it down with your fingers as you go. Alright, that's on there. I'm just going to go over it then with my fingers, just making sure it's all nicely adhered and pressed down well. Okay, then I'm going to do the other side. So let's leave that one there. So I'm using the same piece of transfer paper, and I'm just going to do exactly the same process as I did with the first one. Give it a nice press down. I can see a bit of the orange colour off the balloon has actually transferred onto the transfer paper, even though I was very careful not to press down too much on the paper. So that's on there nicely. So let's do exactly the same thing. So just line it up, and again start from the middle and work your way over your lettering. There we go. So it's about 12:30 in the afternoon now. So this balloon's been inflated for 15 minutes. I'm going to check on it every couple of hours. So there is a bit of colour transfer from the balloon onto the transfer paper. Not very much because we didn't press it down too much, but there is still some. It's inevitable, unfortunately. It doesn't make the surface of the balloon look any different. You can't see that colour transfer, where it's come from or anything like that, which is good. But I'm just going to make sure that there's no air bubbles on this as well, which it looks pretty good at the moment. So I'll come back in a couple of hours and we'll check on how it's doing size wise and how it's doing with regards to lifting of the vinyl, because I think it's going to shrink pretty quickly. So this is dead on 11 inches now. There's no space in between on the sizer whatsoever. I could literally just put that in there and it's not going to come out because it's right on the limit of 11 inches. So let's see, in a couple of hours I'll come back at 2:30 and check what it's like then. So it's 2:45 now, so a little bit longer than 2 hours, but I was on the phone, so we got a bit of a delay. But the vinyl's looking pretty good. let's measure the balloon. So we have lost a little bit of size, so maybe 1/4 of an inch, about 5 millimeters or so ish it looks. You can see that. Let's have a look at the vinyl. Tiny bit of lifting on the T, and we also have an air bubble which I noticed, which I can't actually see now. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, on the S there's a tiny air bubble just there, but not really that noticeable. So the biggest change so far is that just there, the little bit of lifting on that T. Let's have a look at the other side. Looks quite good. So yeah, the biggest difference so far is a little bit of lifting on the T and about 1/4 of an inch change in size. So come back again in another couple of hours or so and see how different it is again. Okay, I'm back again and it is 4:45, so it's another 2 hours later. The balloon started to go a little bit softer now, and I'm just going to check the size. I'd say we've lost probably about 1 centimetre now, so it's shrunk about 1 centimetre in 4.5 hours. Let's take a look at the vinyl. So we've got quite a bit of lifting now here. So we have the O, can you see? So the O has lifted just there. The N has also started to lift there. The N is lifting here and the E here. Testing looks pretty good. Okay, so that's that. But the other side, so the E is well and truly on its way up there. So is that T. We've got a bubble now here coming on the S, and also the other bubble that I mentioned earlier on is there as well. And then we've got 2 bits on the T here that are also lifting up. So that is the result after 4.5 hours. Okay, it's now 6:45 on the evening, and the sizing of this balloon has gone down again, I would say, probably by another 5 millimeters. So I'd say we're probably looking at just over 10 inches now. So it's been 6.5 hours that this balloon's been inflated for, and we've got some more progress with the lifting. So you can see the G on testing is really coming up here and here. The O's coming up on both sides. This M as well, and the N, and the C and the E. The only, oh no, we've got the N on vinyl as well. And then on the other side, this is really changed again in the last 2 hours. So we've got a heck of a lot of lifting here. You can see. So it's 10 o'clock at night now, and this is the last update, definitely. This balloon's really shrunk over the last 10 hours. So if you are going to do this for a customer, I wouldn't recommend not using high float. If you have to do it without high float, you really need to leave the application of the vinyl until the very last minute when you're going to be using these balloons, or when your client is going to be using the balloons, because obviously after a few hours, if they get them for their event and they look like this, they're not going to be very impressed. As I say, we're down to about 10 inches size wise. The vinyl's catching on the sizer as I'm putting it in now, so it's really showing the difference that using the high float makes. as I said earlier, I'm going to have a quick look in the morning and see what this balloon is like. I'm not expecting it to be very big or floating all that much, but we will see how it goes. So I'll see you guys in the morning. Good morning, it's the next day now, and I thought I'd just show you a little update on this orange balloon. So the size has gone down quite a lot. So we're probably at about 9 inches today, which is quite a considerable difference. It's still floating pretty well though, look. So it's still okay. It's game over for the big font, definitely. And the little font isn't doing that well either. I think that the reason why this has lifted so quickly, and it's not just because of the reduction in the size of the latex balloon, it's because it's happened so quickly. It's been such a quick difference, whereas with the other ones it hasn't happened quickly. And if you look at the size today next to one another, the purple one is just slightly bigger than the orange one. So in conclusion, I would say that it is always better to use high float if you've got it available to you. It makes a big difference with how long your balloons will last. And I'm just going to show you an update now on the 2 balloons that we did previously, the pink one and the purple one, that were both high floated. I think you're going to be in for a bit of a surprise. This is the balloon that I inflated on the 15th of April and adhered the vinyl to it on the same day, and this one is high floated. So I'm just going to show you a little update on it. So size wise, I reckon we've gone down to about 9 inches, maybe a little bit over 9 inches, so that's a good indicator there. And then with regards to the vinyl and how it's performed, it still looks good. If you're looking at this side, you know, from a distance, you're not going to notice any lifting or anything like that. However, there is a little bit of lifting, and we can just see it on the F there. It's a bit wibbly, you can see, and then the L has lifted very slightly just there, and then the G here as well has also lifted. But you know, it's been up now for nearly a month, so it's done pretty well. However, on the other side is our thicker font, and I think I remember saying at the time that I thought that one would be the one to fail first, and it definitely has. The shrink in the balloon has really affected the way this vinyl is stuck on, and it's got a really big gap there. You can see it, you can actually see through it. So there's a lot of wrinkling on this. It doesn't look very good, but again, it's been up for a month nearly, so you know, it's done really well. With regards to what sort of fonts to use, I would probably say go thinner. It works better, it holds up well. This is a bit hit and miss really. Looked great to start with, the same as the orange one does now, but obviously it's not very good in the long term. But who really needs their balloons to last that long? Okay, and then this one. So this is the pink dotty balloon. Size wise, we're really small now on this one. So size wise, we are very small. We've had a massive shrink on this. However, this was inflated on the 9th or the 10th of April. So this is, you know, it's going on pretty well. It's still floating, it's still got lift in it, you can see. It's not, you know, as buoyant as it was obviously when it was first inflated. It was high floated with a full pump for 11 inch. This one, you can see the vinyl has lifted, but this has only happened probably in the last week or so. So you can see the difference in that. But if you're looking at it from a distance again, you know, it looks okay, and it's lasted a long time. So yeah, it's really good. I'm quite impressed with it. I have really enjoyed making these videos, and I hope that you found them useful. I would definitely recommend using High Float where you can. It's available at all of the different warehouses around the country. You may also be able to get it on Amazon, so it's worth having a look on there. I hope that you have found this video to be really useful and informative, and that you may have learnt some things from it. If you have enjoyed this video, I would love to see you here for the next one. So hit the subscribe button, give me a big like and a thumbs up, and if you've got any comments, drop them down below. So have a great week, enjoy yourselves and take care, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks a lot, bye!